So, the Pioneer viewers, as you know, our agenda is Russia-Ukraine war, and we continue to bring you all the developments regarding the war. In recent days, there have been very active days on the front line, and the parties continue their mutual attacks. Both armies who want to increase their gains as time progresses are trying to show their strength, and the main plan of the Ukrainian army since the beginning of the winter was to destroy strategic Russian targets, and the Russian army, on the other hand, manages the war processes by showing instant reactions rather than a plan. As the Ukrainian army continued its basic strategy, it was observed that the Russian army retreated at certain points, and the Russian presence in Crimea and the Black Sea region was strongly threatened by the Ukrainian army. As a result, Russia was forced to take a step back, and another factor that made progress difficult was the major problems in the logistics and production processes of the Russian army. Since the Russian army could not provide the necessary supplies to the occupied territories, the Ukrainian army showed signs of superiority in a short time. Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine is now in its third year, and the Moscow administration, which initially did not expect the war to last this long, continues to wear down as the process drags on. And the Ukrainian army, on the other hand, is getting stronger as time goes on. As time goes on, the people in Russia continues to react, and the Ukrainian army's drone attacks on the Crimea have put the Russian army in a deadlock. The Russian military began to debate the cost and importance of defending Crimea, and Crimea is strategically important due to its location, but the Kerch Bridge, which connects Crimea to the highway, has been destroyed many times by the Ukrainian army. Transportation come to the stand still after the attacks in the region, and for this reason, the logistic possibilities of the Russian army become very limited. The Navy commander, who was dismissed after the failures in the Black Sea, was replaced by a new name, and the commander and the head of the Russian Navy, which was trapped in the ports in the region, attracted a lot of attention. Now, if you are ready, let's examine the Russian Navy trapped in the Black Sea and the new Navy commander together. As the Pioneer, we continue to report on Russia-Ukraine war. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. I also read all of your comments on our videos. Please continue to share your ideas about our content in the comments with us. And let's start, if you are ready, the Pioneer report. So in recent reports suggest that the Russian Navy is stuck in the Black Sea, and the Russian Navy had lost a significant part of its presence in the Black Sea as a result of the Ukrainian attacks. What remains of the Navy is heavily guarded, and knowing that Ukrainian intelligence is constantly conducting reconnaissance and surveillance, the Russian military does not dare to take the Navy out of the safe zone. Thanks to the restrictions of the Russian Navy's movements in the region, the insecure environment on the Black Sea has also disappeared, and merchant ships and free ships can continue to use their routes freely. The Russian Navy, on the other hand, pays for its failures by being confined to ports. So, according to a report published the other day, the Russian Navy has significantly curtailed its activities in the Black Sea, and the Russian Navy can only operate in the eastern part of the Black Sea and does not dare to do more. The Ukrainian army is targeting long-range vessels of the Russian Navy in order to secure the area completely, and the Russian Navy, which was in a very difficult situation in previous attacks, is now acting more cautiously. So, despite weak Russian advances along the front line through eastern Ukraine, Kiev forces have been successful in targeting Russian assets in the Black Sea and throughout the Crimean Peninsula. The process that began decades ago when Moscow seized control of the Crimea is still ongoing, and Kiev authorities have vowed to take back the illegally annexed Crimean Peninsula. So new technologies are at the heart of the Ukrainian army's successful operations, and the Ukrainian army successfully destroys the Russian targets thanks to its long-range missiles. In addition, the active involvement of the unmanned naval vessels and the unmanned aerial vehicles also affects the successes of the Ukrainian army, and the Russian military, on the other hand, is unprepared to respond to the new technologies and weapons. So, following the heavy losses of the Black Sea Fleet ships, Moscow approved the replacements of the top commanders of the Russian Navy, and the successive bad news in the Black Sea have had a bad impact on the Russian military. In response, the Moscow authorities decided to replace the Navy commander. Admiral Alexander Moiseev, who is overseeing the expansions of the Black Sea Fleet in Sevastopol, was approved to head to the Navy, and Moiseev have been appointed acting commander-in-chief of the Russian Navy, the statement said. Moiseev is known as a successful soldier who was named Hero of Russia in 2011 for his successful missile launchers from strategic submarines, and no official reasons was given for his appointment, but there have been huge losses for the Black Sea Fleet during Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. About 30% of the Russian ships have been lost as a result of the repeated attacks on the Black Sea Fleet and by the Kiev forces and think tanks, which estimates that half of the fleet will be eliminated by 2025. Ukrainian Interior Advisor Anton Grashchenko shared a post on issue in this social media account, and the previous commanders was removed from his post after the Russian Black Sea Fleet lost almost a third of its combat power since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, he said alongside an image of the naval new commander. The Ukrainian army continues its attacks, especially with unmanned vehicles, and the Ukrainian army, which inflicts great losses on the Russian army with simple costs, shows a successful example of a struggle. So the confinement of the Russian army in the region due to the huge losses it suffered was an important gain in terms of international security, and the Russian army is struggling to compensate for its losses. Disruptions in the production processes and logistical loss don't give the Russian army an opportunity. So the Ukrainian army continues to attack Russia's strategically important oil facilities, and the war which encircles the Russian economy from all sides is beginning to signal the end for Russia. And in the coming days, we will see whether the new Russian Navy commander will be successful or not. How do you assess the weak positions of the Russian Navy in the Black Sea and Crimea regions? And do you think that the Black Sea surrendered by the Ukrainian army is of a strategic importance? What do you think is the main difference between the Ukraine and Russian armies? And what might happen on the battlefield in coming days? What do you think about the new Russian Navy commander? You know that we care about your opinion, so please share it with us.